we will start our class. Uh, in fact, we are just okay. Uh, okay. In fact, we had 4 classes. In 4 classes, we discussed about the main ideas. That means the term and understanding of feminist words, important phrases and all. We had a discussion about 2 classes, and also we just started our discussion on last previous 2 classes, women in Buddhism, women in Hinduism, and
Papa cicin dari babu.
somebody is
Kita habis sunat.
uh,
Papa, Papa dah habis sunat.
okay. Friends, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Last 4 classes we had a kind of understanding the terms and ideas which concerning to the women or feminist theology and feminist understanding, and other 2 classes, class 3, class 4, we had a meaningful discussion about women in Hinduism. So far we had a 4 classes. This is our fifth class, and today we are going to see another new chapter. Chapter is women in Buddhism. Women in Buddhism, and as we uh, okay, women in Buddhism. So we know Buddhism also considered as a Indic religion. Indic religion, that means this religion also started and born in the land of India. That's what Buddhism also considered as a Indic religion. Not only that, the founder of this religion was Siddhartha Gautama. We know Siddhartha Gautama was the founder of Indic religion, what we call it Buddhism. Siddhartha Gautama was belongs to Kshatriya community. That means second important caste in Hindu social structure. We know in Hinduism, in social structure, 4 castes are plays very important role. First one is Brahmin, second one is Kshatriya, third one is Vaishya, fourth one was fourth one is Sudra. So 4 castes are divided in Hindu social structure. So he belongs to Kshatriya community. That means second important social structure. Buddhism regarded as one of the major religions of India and abroad as well. Okay, Buddhism now considered as a transnational religion because some of the Buddhist monks, they migrated to different places and they established that religion, Buddhist religion. So Buddhism is considered as a transnational religion. And Jain Persilansky. Jean Persilansky, a well-known scholar and thinker, he calls it, he calls some of the people are, please um, mute your microphone. It is giving you little disturbance. So thank you. Jean Persilansky calls it as a principle of peace and symbol of union. How he viewed Buddhism? Buddhism can be understood as a principle of peace. That means Buddhism is propagating peace, mainly non-violence. Not only that, symbol of union. That means in Buddhism, we don't feel any caste hierarchy. That means one caste is superior than other caste. Such kind of hierarchy is not there in Buddhism. So Buddhism producing or Buddhism can be understood as a symbol of union and also principle of peace. Buddhism was emerged as a protest path against Hinduism. So during the early ancient history, when we see during the time of the Buddhism establishment, Hinduism was dominating entire society, mainly Brahminical traditions. Brahminical traditions were influencing all kinds of people. Brahminical Brahminical tradition was so dominant, and they were influencing Indian society, and all the communities which belong to Indian society, they were under the control of Brahmins. So Brahmins were doing so much uh, administrative things and all because of Brahmins. Then what happened? So many religious burdens came upon the people's shoulder. People were not able to carry out the religion because it is so high, so weighted for them, because Brahmins were introducing so many rituals and so many other things. A common person cannot worship God, cannot worship, cannot worship God because of many rituals and many social structures. Because of heaviness, people were not able to connect to God because Brahmins were controlling each and every aspect of Indian community. So, in that context, Buddhism was emerged as a protest path against Hinduism. Buddhism came as a counter defense to counter defense to um, Hinduism. So people can come to God in another perspective. In other sense, Brahmins were giving much load upon the people. So Buddhism invited all the people to have a kind of peaceful, peaceful kind of atmosphere, so that everyone can connect with God with their own understanding. Such a context, it was emerged as a protest path against Hinduism. Buddhism publicly condemned Brahminism and its traditions. That's what we see. Buddhism publicly condemned Brahminism and its tradition. That means Buddhism completely against Hinduism. That was the main idea here. That was the main idea here. When we see Buddhism's origin, we know through our secular studies and all, but again, we are going to discuss some of the important elements. When we think about Buddhism's origin, Siddhartha Gautama was the founder during the time of 5th century. That time, Buddhism was started, and Siddhartha Gautama or Buddha was born 563 BC in Bihar, in eastern India. So Bihar, eastern part of India, was birthplace of Siddhartha Gautama. He belongs to Sakya tribe, often called as a Sakyamuni. Many people used to call him Buddha as a Sakyamuni because he belongs to Sakya tribe. Again, in Buddhism, we can see Siddhartha Gautama's name as a Buddha. That's what is the religious name, the Buddha, which meant awakened one. That means Buddha renounced all his desires and he renounced all his responsibilities and worldly things, and he came to one place and he meditated and he became got enlightenment. So that state is called as a awakened one. That means he was awakened one means enlightened one. He got some revelation. He experienced some supernatural way, so that he he was uh, he was identified as a awakened one. So his religious name, Siddhartha Gautama religious name was Buddha. The Buddhism was emerged as a Samana movement, which emphasizes the brotherhood of all humankind. So Buddhism denies, Buddhism prohibits the social structure of Hinduism. That means caste system. Buddhism was an aesthetic oriented discipline. That means in Buddhism, the strict discipline is very essential in Buddhism. So they don't take any delicious food and all. They don't embrace any comfortable things, and which gives pleasure to human body. They practice strict discipline. They practice strict discipline. That's what here we are discussing. Buddhism was an ascetic oriented discipline. According to Buddhist scriptures, there were five main ascetic groups, respectively. Ajvikas in Buddhism, they always roam like a Digambaras, like a naked people. That sect called as Ajvikas. And again, another ascetic sect was there. That sect name is Jatilas. And third one is Paribhajakas. They will always wandering from one place to another place. They roam around under a spiritual guru, spiritual leader. And fourth sect was called as Nigantas, wearing single robe. They wear one single robe and they identified themselves as a Niganta sect, and they will meditate and they do their ritualistic things and all. Then fifth sect was Mundakas. Mundakas were always, they will shave their heads. When we see here and there, some of the Buddhist people, they shave their heads. They are those group called Mundakas. So Buddhism was ascetic oriented religion, and also five sects were there. Every sect, every division, every group maintain their own unique Buddhist religious traditions according to their belief systems and all. Coming to the influence and impact, how Buddhism brought influence and impact on human society. Now, coming to the in this section, we are going to see some of the important areas which are connected to women's life. That's what this chapter we are going to discuss about women in Buddhism. Influence and impact. Siddharthas or Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha's Buddhahood. Buddhahood means his experience, enlightenment experience or awakened experience had already happened 2000 years ago. 2000 years ago, Buddha or Siddhartha Gautama got a special experience when he was meditating and searching the truth. That's what he got the name Buddha. So already that incident happened in India 2000 years ago. Still then, that belief system, that incident still is influencing Indian people, not only Indian people, the people around the world. Not only that, every day many people are embracing Buddhism and they are following Buddha's path. That means Buddhism brought great impact on human life. And another important area, Buddhism prefers rigorous asceticism. They don't compromise. They practice very systematic, very disciplined rules and regulations. They leave all the comfort zones and they will isolate themselves and they will follow strict disciplines. So, rigorous asceticism and intensive meditation, they go to the meditation into deeper level. So, these are the prime principles people are embracing rigorous asceticism, intensive meditation to follow the Buddha's path. And again, when we see Buddhism providing the new way of life, that's what people are embracing. Buddhism is providing new way of life, and also Buddhism teachings were attracted both men and women because it always teaching or Buddhism's teaching always centered around on equality, brotherhood, love, compassion, mercy. Because of these teachings, many people were embracing Buddhism. In that, in this, in that group, men were there, men are there, and women also are there. Some of the followers left their homes and families to follow the Buddha's path. When we see the development of Buddhism, when we try to understand the establishment of Buddhism, when Buddhism just established against Hinduism, many people they left their homes and they wanted to practice rigorous asceticism. Not only that, they wanted to live in a isolation place through meditation. They wanted to experience the peace in their inner being. So what happened? Because of the new teachings and because of the new way of life, what happened? Many people embraced Buddhism. They left their home, they left their respective places, and they followed the Buddha's path. So they are like a nuns, they are like a sages, they are like a sadhus, they are like a gurus. They are called bhiksu and bhikshuni. Bhiksu and bhikshuni. Bhiksu refers to male followers. Bhikshuni refers to female followers. These are the important dimensions we can see in the Buddhism. So, coming to the Buddha's community of disciples called as Sangha. The Buddha's community of disciples called as Sangha. Sangha means a group of people. Sangha means a community. Sangha means a particular sect which having a peculiar, unique belief systems and all. So the Buddha's community of disciples called Sangha, and in Sangha we can see both laymen and laywomen, and laymen and laywomen. Laymen means the people who are working as well as not only working, they are supporting their religion, they are involving in spiritual spiritual activities. Laywomen also women and they are working, they have their own responsibilities. Not only that, they support their religion and also they involve in their belief systems. So Sangha include laymen and laywomen. There are very committed and devoted people. They came to be known as Upasaka and Upasika. So Upasaka are male members, Upasika are female members. Bhiksu are male members, Bhikshuni are female members. Because of their responsibilities, they are called as, they are identified as with different names. In this chapter, we are just discussing third chapter. And we, in our first chapter, we discussed about feminist understanding, feminist concerning terms and phrases and main ideas we discussed in the first chapter. Second chapter, we discussed women in Hinduism, how women's life connected to Hindu religious tradition, how Hindu religious tradition has just has given responsibilities and Hindu tradition influenced women. That's what we studied in second chapter. Now we are discussing and we are try to understand third chapter, women in Buddhism. So in Buddhism, so many things are there. We are try to try to uh, try to understand those important elements. So, lay women means women who are having their own responsibilities. Not only that, they are supporting their own religion, they are participating in their religion practices and belief systems and all. Lay women offered economic support to the monastic sangha. So, what is the importance? What is the importance in what is the main importance uh, of women in Buddhism? So, Buddhism welcomed women and Buddhism treated women as equally as men. So, in Buddhism, no hierarchy. Man is superior, woman is inferior, not like that. Everyone are treated as in equal measures. So, what happened? Lay women embraced Buddhism and they offered economic support to the monastic sangha. That means particular group of Buddhist community. They contributed funds to the construction of stupas and temples. Women, women gave much contribution to the development of Buddhism. Buddhism was established very strongly, and Buddhism spread to the different parts of world because of the commitment and support and contribution from women. So lay women contributed funds to the construction of stupas and temples. Because of the women commitment and their contribution, Buddhism had very much popularity. Not only that, Buddhism was very much established in first uh, few centuries. Sutras means Buddhist doctrines. Buddhist doctrines also called as sutras. Not only that, Vinayas also some of the rules and principles in Buddhism. So sutras and Vinayas recount the generosity and piety of many such women and hundreds of inscriptions recording the gifts of lay women to Buddhist monuments. That means what? And what is this sentence meaning? When we try to understand this sentence, sutras, Vinayas are known as Buddhism's doctrine. Sutras and Vinayas are known as Buddhism's doctrine. In this Buddhism doctrine, they emphasized about generosity. Generous giving is main principle in Buddhism scriptures. That means sutras and Vinayas. Not only that, piety, that means religious life, devoted life is very important. So, sutras and Vinayas both are called as Buddhist doctrines. These scriptures gave much importance and encouragement to generous giving. Because of the Buddhist scriptures, many women they did their jobs, they worked for their religion, and they contributed. These things we can see from the inscriptions. Inscriptions means a special kind of arts which we can find in Buddhist temples and ancient Buddhist monuments. Monuments means very beautiful and very well structured sites are called as monuments. So Buddhism gave much importance to generosity. Buddhism gave much importance to equality and love. So women played an important role. So that is the one of the positive note we can make when we study about Buddhism and women in Buddhism. Lay women also made gifts to building projects at Buddhist monuments. That means lay women, they worked, they got something, and they gave to their religion. So they gave gifts to development of the Buddhist projects and all. It is very, very important. Women's role in Buddhism is very, very important because Buddhism invited men and women equally. They treated men and women in equal measures. Many women embraced Buddhism and they supported Buddhism in a very larger measure. Very larger measure. That is the one of the important aspect we can see women in Buddhism. In general, the attitude toward women found in the scriptures is positive. Whenever we see Buddhist scriptures, whenever we see Buddhism's doctrines, Buddhism's way of life, whenever we observe, they always treated women with positive sense, not negative sense, with positive sense. That's what Buddhism brought great impact in women's life. And again, the scriptures were continued to be modified and edited by generations of monk interpreters. What happened when time goes on? When time goes on, when time moves on, what happened from one generation to another generation? There are many people. There are many people who came with different mindset. Then what happened? Many Buddhist leaders they try to modify, they try to put new insights into the old scriptures. Then what happened? So many versions, many new interpretive writings emerged after few centuries when Buddhism was established. So what happened? Now the scenario, now the situation is changing. Mainly Buddhist principles are equality. Buddhism always encourages the brotherhood of all human being and love, mercy and all. Now what happened? Many women were involved in development of the Buddhism. Many women embraced Buddhism. Then Buddhism used to treat women equally as well as men. Then what happened? Later period, when time moves on, many other leaders came. They interpreted Buddhist scriptures in their own understanding. So, such a contradictory situation happened when the development of Buddhism happened in the history. There are some hostile passages that denounce women as deadly temptresses who are by nature addicted to sex, who are faithless and deceitful, greedy and foolish. Now see, the change already happened because of various interpretation. Some leaders came, they interpreted Buddhism scriptures in their own understanding. Then what happened? They were trying to project. Woman is woman is causing temptation. So woman is the reason for temptation. That is one idea. And woman is faithless. Woman is deceitful. Woman is having a greedy kind of thing. Woman is a foolish being. So other versions, other interpretations, they brought very negative understanding towards women. So now we can see contradiction. One aspect we can see positive note, another aspect we can see negative note. So these latter writings by some later Buddhist thinkers and Buddhism's leaders, what happened? Women projected as a negative being. A woman like a deceitful being. Woman is a kind of greedy being. Woman is a kind of a foolish being. Woman is the cause for the temptation. That's what we can see. These scriptures seem to reflect a period after the Buddha's death when the monastic Sangha was making itself into an organized institution with a strict hierarchical structure. Later scriptures, we can see that Buddhist writings are giving a kind of negative role, negative picture to the woman. So hierarchy again emerged in Buddhism. That means man is superior to woman, woman is subordinate to man, or woman got to second position, which is against Buddhist principles. But that contradiction had happened. Within the Sangha, leadership was reserved for men. After the after few centuries, after the establishment of Buddhism, what happened? Because of some leaders and their writings and their because of their interpretation, what happened? Women again got to second position. Men is superior to women. That kind of understanding emerged in Buddhism. Now, coming to the nuns in Buddhism. Nuns means the people who do not have a family responsibilities, the people who don't maintain family institution, they don't involve into family kind of responsibilities, they don't marry, they deny marry and marriage, and they live like a ascetic, or like a sage, like a sadhu. So there are hundreds and hundreds of nuns in Buddhism, because many women, they dedicated themselves as a nuns to establishment of the Buddhism, and we can see in the history of Buddhism. So many women, those who belong to royal family, king's family, those who belong to merchant family, business family, those who are having much money and all, those kind of women, they gave gifts to the establishment of Buddhist religion. Not only that, and they joined in ascetic life. So many women, they dedicated their life to become a nun. That means they don't embrace any kind of responsibility of family. They live like a ascetic. Some women long to live ordinary home life altogether, so that they could devote themselves completely to the religious life. Many women, they understood that with family responsibilities, with family, they cannot follow Buddha's path. They cannot follow Buddha's life. So they cannot have a kind of enlightenment. So they should they must leave their responsibility. So they left their responsibility. They completely dedicated themselves to be like a nun, to follow the Buddhist religious traditions. The Buddha welcomed them to his Sangha. When Buddha was there, those people, particularly women who came to Buddha, we want to join you, we want to follow you, accept us. When they requested, Buddha invited them. So many women, hundreds of women, they left their families, homes, and they joined Buddha's path. So that's how the nuns tradition began in Buddhism. And Buddha clearly asserted that women's spiritual capacities were equal to men. Buddha publicly he declared that spiritual life of men, spiritual life of women are equal. There is no difference. What man is doing and what woman is doing in spiritual sphere, spiritual platform, both are doing same. Nobody is higher than other one. So Buddha openly declared that women's spirituality, men's spirituality is equal, both are equal. So both can both can follow his path. Such a way, many women were attracted to Buddhism. Many bhikshuni means a kind of sadhu who did not have a family responsibilities, who deny marriage life, they are called bhikshuni. Many bhikshuni were able to quickly attain liberating insight after diligent practice of meditation. In those days, ancient time, many female followers of Buddhism and who practiced very strict meditation, they had a kind of enlightenment, revelation experience. So, such kind of witnesses we can see in the Buddhism and in Buddhist history. The Buddhist tradition believe that because of Buddha's aunt, her name was her name was Maha Prajapati, the women monastic order was started. First, Buddha did not invited women as his followers. First, Buddha always encouraged men to be part of his new movement. How these women followers uh, started? What was the reason? Actually, there was a story. Actually, there was a story. Buddha's aunt, that means Buddha's family member, her name was Maha Prajapati. She was the she was the person who gave much influence on Buddha's life. So when Siddhartha Gautama, when he was in childhood, and Siddhartha Gautama's mother died, that time Mahaprajapati, Buddha or Siddhartha Gautama's aunt took care of entire responsibility of Siddhartha Gautama. She fed Siddhartha Gautama. She led Siddhartha Gautama. She served Siddhartha Gautama in very higher measure. So what happened? Buddha's aunt was very much influential to influence Buddha's life. So what happened? After Buddha got enlightenment, after Buddha got awakened, that kind of nirvana, and when Siddhartha Gautama's aunt Maha Prajapati learned or came to know that his his nephew his nephew acted like his nephew become like a enlightened one. So what happened? She wanted to follow. She wanted to follow Buddha. Buddha don't like. Buddha doesn't like because her aunt want to follow his path and all. So Buddha simply denied her plea. Buddha simply ignored her plea. Then what happened? Mahaprajapati, Buddha's aunt, she declared fasting. She did not eat any food. She started to weeping and she started to sit on the dust. She wanted to put dust on herself and she was crying. She was following Buddha wherever Buddha goes. Then what happened? Buddha had a one very faithful servant. His name is Ananda. So Ananda was observing what Buddha's aunt was doing. So Buddha is not encouraging her his aunt to follow his path, but Ananda was observing wherever Buddha is going, and Mahaprajapati, Buddha's aunt also following with weeping, with fasting, with crying and all. One day, Ananda asked Buddha, Buddha, you are a great teacher, and whoever seeks your path, whoever come to you, you must encourage those persons because they are believing in you. So why you are neglecting some people? So immediately Buddha asked, I am not neglecting anyone. Why you are saying like that? Then Ananda said, your own aunt is observing fasting and she is not taking any food. She wants to join in your path. Why you are not encouraging her? And then Buddha just invited her aunt into his own path. That's how Buddhism had female monks. That's how Buddhism had female followers. That's what the story uh, reveals. So because of Buddha's aunt, feminine followers, female followers were increased and started to join in Buddhism. That was the background of the female nuns in Buddhism. Strict rules for Bhikshuni. When Buddha is inviting his aunt into his path, Buddhism, then he made some strict rules for female nuns. What are they? Here, some other rules are there. We are trying to understand those rules. Every female bhikshuni, that means every female follower, bhikshuni, shall rise and salute every monk. That means male monk is there, when female monk is there, and female monk has to salute every male monk. So that is the one rule for female followers. Every bhikshuni, each and every bhikshuni must take assistance of a monk during the rainy season. Buddhist people always they depend upon begging, and they depend upon some other help from the society. So rainy season, what happens? Buddhist bhikshuni, she should not go alone. In rainy season, Buddhist bhikshuni, female follower or nun, she should follow the footstep of male monk. That means male monk must lead female monk. That means bhikshuni during the rainy season. So for bhikshuni, every off month having instructions from bhikshu are compulsory. Every 15 days, male monk should give instructions to female monk. That means bhikshuni. That kind of rules Buddha set for female followers. Fourth one, after the rainy season, Buddhist bhikshuni, female nun or follower, she must report whatever evil things which she committed during that season in front of both sanghas. There are two sanghas in Buddhism, female sanghas and male sanghas. That means male group and female group. What these people group usually do, they leave their homes and they go to the isolated places. They live as a kind of group and community, and they will follow strict discipline and all. So there is a bhikshu, that means male community, male group. There is a bhikshuni, female community, female nun group. Whenever after the rainy season, every bhikshuni must confess, must report what she has done wrong things in front of both sanghas. Again, fifth one, bhikshuni must undergo the punishment if she breaks the rule of Vinaya. Vinaya means important rules in the Buddhism. So if any bhikshuni has done something against the Buddhist principle, she must face the punishment. That is also one rule for female followers. A bhikshuni must be ordained by both the bhikshu and bhikshuni sanghas. That means what? Every female followers should be ordained in the both sanghas, female and male communities. A bhikshuni must be never abuse or revile a monk. She doesn't have any authority to abuse a male monk. That is also another important rule for female follower. A bhikshu may formally admonish a bhikshuni, but she may not admonish him. Male follower of Buddha, bhikshu can authorize anything over bhikshuni, but bhikshuni cannot authorize over bhikshu. That is the another important principle we can see. So when we study women in Buddhism and we are having some of the important elements, try to understand what role women had in Buddhism. So basically, Buddha treated men and women equally. And in earlier period, when Buddhism established, that time Buddhism welcomed male followers, female followers, and Buddhism treated them equal measures. After some time, what happened? Many leaders have come. They interpreted Buddhist scriptures in with their own understanding. Again, they brought to hierarchical structure. That means man is superior, woman is subordinate, man is superior over women's life, woman is inferior to men. That kind of understanding they brought. Again, we can see they projected women as a negative sign in the society. Such kind of situations we saw.
Sir?
How? Yeah.
Can you turn back previous page, sir?
Sorry.
Previous page. Could you show the previous page?
Previous things.
Previous page. Last
Previous page.
Last page.
What last page?
Sir, actually, now you are showing the previous page, last page. Yes. Yes, speedily you have gone.
Okay. These are the rules which Buddha set for Bhikshuni, that means women.
Thank you.
Can I move?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your concern. Thank you for your concern.
Okay,
Coming
sir.
to the some role models in Buddhism. In Buddhism, when we see some women, they set some of the important lifestyles which every woman can follow. So these women were played a kind of role model kind of responsibility in Buddhism. First is Maha Prajapati. She was none other than Buddha's own aunt, the first Bhikshuni or first woman follower in Buddhism. Because of her initiation, because of her strong commitment, Buddha accepted women followers in his new path, in his new movement called Buddhism. So she was the first woman follower, and also she lived very purity life, and she was the role model for all the bhikshunis or female followers who embraced Buddhism, and they can follow Maha Prajapati's footsteps. And again, another woman named Dhamma Dena. Dhamma Dena. And this woman had a very vast, deep knowledge in spiritual things. When Buddha was living, during the Buddha's lifetime, this Dhammadena woman had many discussions with Buddha. Buddha was amazed with Dhammadena's understanding about spirituality and understanding about the things. So Dhammadena, who was praised by the Buddha for her brilliant explanation of Dharma. So she also lived like a role model. Dhammadena was one of the role model for every bhikshuni or follower of female follower in Buddhism. The third woman was named Khema. Khema taught some of the important things to King Pasenadi of Kosala. Kosala place was ruled by King Pasenadi. So Khema was teacher for the king in the area, in the region of Kosala. She also kind of
Excuse
role model for Buddhist women. So nuns
Excuse
were
me.
clearly very active as donors and supporters of the faith. When we say about nuns, nuns were clearly very active as
Sir?
donors and supporters of the faith.
Sir, I need one clarification.
Yes.
Sir, you are telling all along for monks, Buddhist monks and nuns.
Okay.
And what about the public people, sir, general people?
Sorry.
You were telling about all the rules and rules applicable to the monks of
Yeah.
Buddhist
Yeah.
and nuns.
Yes,
Whereas
yes.
public, whether this is applicable to the public also, or there is
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Actually, what happened? I really appreciate your question, and a very important aspect you brought to our discussion in this context. I really appreciate. Actually, what happened? Bhikshuni or female followers or nuns, those who completely just avoid the responsibility of family, and they wanted to engage themselves in a kind of sadhu, or in a kind of lonely life. So bhikshunis are there. Apart from bhikshunis, they are the women called lay women. Lay women means the woman who is having family responsibility, who is having family, and also who is involving in religious activities. So bhikshunis number is less in Buddhism. Lay women number is more in Buddhism. So what you just brought to our discussion, the aspect common woman can be a lay woman. That means that woman who is having her own responsibilities, also she is try to involve in spiritual responsibilities. In such context, common women can play a role of lay women, laymen. So they can be in both play. They can play role in both things, spiritual things, and also social things. And what you asked is common people can be can be uh, understood, or can be like a responsibility, like a laywoman and a layman. That was the picture in Buddhist tradition. Uh, you got any kind of
Yes, sir.
answer?
No. As you said, but we did not aware about this. Other than the nuns, so that I asked.
Okay, means laywomen are there. They are apart from nuns, and common people means common people can follow the principles, and they can go to temple and worship, and those things are there because Buddhism doesn't show any kind of hierarchy and any kind of partiality. Buddhism welcomed men and women are both equally. So common people can be also participate, but these rules exclusively for female followers, those who are in the position of nuns. These 8 rules. What you showed, these rules only for nuns, only for female followers, those who are practicing kind of ascetic life, a position, carrying position of nun. But all the common people not fall into this category. Did you get, brother?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, all the common women not fall into this category. The
Yes.
bhikshuni, the female nuns, the female followers, those who are practicing ascetic, they are bound to these 8 rules which were set by Buddha. Did you get some idea, brother?
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I really
Excuse me,
appreciate
sir.
your,
Can I ask one question? Can I ask one question?
yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. So,
Okay.
about that creation of man and women, how how Buddhism is defined about that creation of man and women
Which
in
one?
Buddhism? How Buddhism is defined
Okay.
about the creation of man and women?
How Buddhism defined? Yeah. See, in yeah, that's good. Actually, according to Buddha's understanding, in physical level, when we are having flesh, when we are having a physical appearance like a male and female, we have a biological biochemistry kind of differences. In inner being in the sense, in the concept of soul, which women and men are having, in the inner being, in the concept of soul, men and women are equal, not biologically, but spiritually, not outward appearance, but inward appearance. In inward appearance, every being, or male or female, are having soul. In the concept of soul, men and women are equal. Outward appearance, when we are having our biological appearance, both are different, because we are there, because they have some purposes. Because of the purposes, biologically they differ from one another. Male differ from female, female differ from male. But inside, inner being, they are carrying soul. Soul doesn't have any differences. Did you get it? The idea?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, I listen from some other resources that
Okay.
Buddhism are atheists. Buddhism are atheists. Means they did not believe God.
Okay, yes, that's true.
But
Absolutely
but
true.
but without believing God, how they are following the spiritual law? Because
Oh,
they doesn't believe God. Then
okay.
from where they got soul? From where they got soul?
Okay. Yeah, here, yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, actually, you brought very contextual and very important question. Yeah. See, Buddhism considered as a religion. How without God it is considered as a religion? There are some aspects. Buddhism has a belief system. Buddhism has a kind of principles. Buddhism has a followers, and Buddhism established in many places. And what generally religion has a characteristics, outward characteristics, everything Buddhism has. Here, one thing is very important. As brother pointed out, here, soul or these concepts they are having without God. What here we try to understand is Buddha's concept is ultimate destiny. Ultimate destiny is where there is no pain, there is no sorrow. That is ultimate point. That's what he always says. One who one who overcome the sorrow, one who overcome the pain, one who overcome the dukkha is going to the place, or is going to the point where ultimate bliss means happy joyfulness is there. So that is the place, is the ultimate destiny for human being. So that is the Buddhist understanding. Overcoming sorrow, overcoming dukkha is the ultimate aim for the ultimate aid for the every individual. He did not bring a God concept. If you bring God concept again, he was saying that every individual, no individual needs one person to help, or one person to help him or her to reach that point. Every human being has a potentiality. Every human being has a kind of potentiality. Through particular discipline, they can reach. Here, five kinds of sects are there. Five kinds of sects are there. As we discussed earlier, Mundakas are there, Parabhajakas are there, and Nigantas are there. And what happened after the death of Buddha? There were several groups emerged in Buddhism. So, in that development, what happened? They adopted other religious concepts into the Buddhism. They adopted other religious concepts. So, in their writings, in their scriptures, they brought these understandings. What understandings? Soul concept, inner being, a spiritual power, superpower, such kind of syncretism. Syncretism means later editions happened in the Buddhist writings, and various versions came, various interpretations came. When time is moving on, over the period of time, so many people were involved to interpret Buddhist scriptures. They brought these ideas to establish their own sect, their own division. So, because of that, in Buddhism, some people follow idol worship, some people don't follow idol worship. We can see in further discussions. Did you get any idea?
Yes, sir.
Because
Thank
what
you.
happened, later period, there were several divisions happened in Buddhism over the period. 5 sects are there. In 5 sects, different versions are there, different interpretations are there. Syncretism means adopting other people's belief systems, adopting other people's own philosophies, understandings. Because of syncretism, so many things added. Because of this added things, these kind of elements are uh, uh, came into Buddhism. So these are the brief picture which I'm going to just try to answer your query. Thank you. And coming to the another important aspect in Buddhism, three main branches of Buddhism. Mahayana Buddhism. Mahayana means great vehicle. Vehicle means it is like a travel. When you meditate, when you try to search for truth, then what happened? Your inner soul should travel, and inner soul should travel to from this world to another world. That's what idea is. Great vehicle. Mahayana Buddhism was one of the major group in Buddhism. It was emerged in earliest period of Buddhism. Main emphasis was to have rapid enlightenment. Rapid enlightenment means when you take a strict uh, discipline, you will get enlightenment very soon. That means you will be awakened. You will overcome all kinds of sorrows, attachments, bondages. That's what enlightenment is all about. Enlightenment means you are overcoming all kinds of bondages, attachments, pains, dukkha and all. You are going to another level where you can experience only joy, peace, and all the bliss, not other things. That's what they call enlightenment. So, this Mahayana Buddhism, main emphasis was to have rapid enlightenment. That means every individual should have a kind of revelation or the position very fast, very fast. That's what they are emphasizing. Memorizing, chanting, listening to, copying, and worshipping scriptures or sutras are main practices of Mahayana Buddhism. And believe in the divinity of Buddha and idol worship. See, in Mahayana Buddhism, they practice divinity of Buddha. They will call Buddha as a power. Not only that, they also accept idol worship. In fact, in Buddhism, no idol worship is entertained because idol worship is not main aspect of Buddhism. But Mahayana Buddhism, they also follow idol worship. The main concept is that Bodhisattva. Mahayana Buddhism's main concept is what? Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva means what? One who seeks to become a Buddha. That means enlightened position, awakened position. Another important group name is Hinayana or Vajrayana Buddhism. Hinayana or Vajrayana Buddhism. Hinayana Vajrayana Buddhism called as small vehicle. That means their understanding of their spiritual journey. Hinayana Buddhism did not believe in the divinity of Buddha. This group, they say that Buddha doesn't have any power, any divinity, any divine thing and all. The main emphasis is that individual salvation through self-discipline and meditation. They always say that one who meditate, one who discipline himself or herself, they will get the enlightenment. That is the doctrine of Hinayana Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism is a kind of sect of the elders, and the group call themselves as elders, maturity ones, and this Theravadins deeply revere the historical Buddha as a perfected master, but do not pay respect to the numerous Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that are worshipped in the Mahayana sect. That means they always emphasize on historical Buddha who lived several centuries ago. Concerning women's status in Buddhism, all these sects have their own expressions as follows. Mahayana Buddhism, they always try to give a better life for women, improved women religious status, and does not oppose women Buddhahood. Mahayana Buddhism always shows positive attitude towards women. Again, Hinayana or Vajrayana Buddhism. Hinayana Vajrayana Buddhism, their attitude towards women, they deny women Buddhahood. They can say, they always say that women cannot reach ultimate goal. Women cannot reach ultimate goal. Women cannot be like a Buddha. Buddha means what? Buddha is a state, not a name. Buddha is a state. It's not a name. It is a kind of state. When you overcome dukkha, pain, suffering, attachment, all kind of bondages, when you overcome, you are ultimately, you are experiencing peace, joyful bliss in your inner being. That is called ultimate destiny. So, what Hinayana, Vajrayana Buddhism people are telling, they say women cannot achieve ultimate goal. How women can achieve? Women again must born in male form, then only they can achieve. That's what they say. Theravada Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism is the third major group in Buddhism. They believe that a woman cannot achieve full and completely Buddhahood. That means Mahayana Buddhism, this group only encourages women's Buddhahood, women's spirituality. Rest of the other two major groups, they don't encourage that. Some views concerning women in Buddhist sects. Can a woman be a Buddha? That was the one important question. Always Buddhist people have. A fully enlightened Buddha could only have a male body. Male body means Buddha is a male form. Only Buddha, that means male can reach perfect, male can reach into perfect position, women cannot. So that is the questions
Sir,
of
can I
Buddhist
ask
people
you a
have.
question? Sir,
Yeah.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
So if man can only reach the ultimate goal, then what about women? Is that Buddhism are believing in reborn process, born
no.
again and again?
Yeah, actually what happened, no? Yeah, some interpretations are bringing rebirth. As you mentioned rightly, as you pointed out rightly, yes, some of the sects in Buddhism, some of the scriptures in Buddhism, they are adopting the rebirth or karma concept from Hinduism because they wanted to show male superiority over women. How they are showing? Buddha is a male personality. Buddha got enlightenment. That means he reached to ultimate perfect position. Female is a impure being. Female is faithless. Female is a kind of impure being. So by feminine form, she cannot reach ultimate goal. How she can reach? She only can reach after having a male kind of birth, then only she can reach. In this context, what happened within the Buddhism, there is a contradictory ideas. Mahayana Buddhism is telling women can reach ultimate point. Hinayana Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism is telling with feminine form she cannot reach. Because of these belief systems, because of these contradictory positions, they split themselves and they're keeping their own understandings. Did you get, brother? Did you get?
Yes, sir.
Mahayana Buddhism, they're accepting female Buddhahood. They are accepting female can reach. But rest of the two major groups, Vajrayana or Hinayana Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism, they are denying. So because of their doctrines, because of their understanding, because of their standard position, they split themselves and they're keeping their own identity through their belief systems. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Women's secondary rank in the formal Sangha hierarchy had already been established, and now women's spiritual status was declared inferior as well. That means whatever Buddhism is giving freedom to female followers, but there is a space where women still is having inferior rank, and the hierarchy is still continuing. Coming to the within few minutes, 3-4 minutes, I would like to conclude this chapter. Women in Buddhism. Please bear with me. Within few moments, we will conclude our discussion. Buddhist women in modern India. Buddhism had a very tough time due to the emerging of Vaishnavism and Saivism and invasion of Muslims. When we see Buddhist history, and when Vaishnavism, Saivism, Bhakti movement is coming up, that time the Buddhism had a tough time. Buddhism was established in many centuries as a transnational religion and involving social service and community development project. Though Buddhism had a tough time, and the latest contemporary in modern times, Buddhism or Buddhist people are much involved in social service and all. Women in Neo-Buddhism. Neo-Buddhism means New Buddhism. Dr. Ambedkar made it a point, as he said, to carry women along with men as equal participants in the just society he envisioned. Friends, Neo-Buddhism is a Buddhism movement started by Dr. B. Ambedkar. It is better. Next class, I would like to start from here, and we will discuss from this point to other chapters. So I would like to wind up here today's discussion. I really appreciate some of you are actively are involving in the discussions, and today especially some of you just ask some questions, queries, and engaging with the discussion. I would like to appreciate. We are meeting in this class 2 groups. Okay, each group consists comprises with 20 plus. Today participants only 17. Okay, this and many of you are having some responsibilities, but as a distance coordinator, and also the responsibility which is given to me, definitely I will call individually. I will call each one of you, because we have a summer vacation break, and I will talk to you. And those who are sincerely and regularly and faithfully and participating, I would like to express my heartful thanks to you. I really appreciate your commitment to learn the things. I would like to appreciate your sincerity, and keep doing, and keep moving forward. And the people, those are not regularly attending, I will just have a discussion with them. Are there any questions, friends, queries?